Quiet on set, please. And action.
Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. In review today is the Creator on 4K Blu Ray. Let's take a look at the tech specs. It was shot on Sony ILME FX3 and Sony PXW FX9 cameras in 4K resolution. It's got a 4K DI, the aspect ratio is 276:1, it's got a Dolby Atmos soundtrack, the disc supports HDR10, it's a 66GB disc, the average bitrate is 45.28MB per second, the runtime is 133 minutes, and it's rated 12. The Creator lands on 4K Blu-ray courtesy of Disney and 20th Century Studios with a solid UHD presentation that effectively reproduces cinematographers Greg Fraser and Oren Sofer and director Gareth Edwards' vision of a futuristic sci-fi world, amid a future war between the human race and the forces of artificial intelligence. One of the first most striking things about the image is the unique framing choice of a 276:1 aspect ratio. The same ratio as Ultra Panavision 70, which was used to capture 1959's Ben-Hur, and more recently 2015's The Hateful Eight. This ultra-widescreen ratio is utilised to create an increased sense of immersion and to showcase epic landscapes and locations, of which this film has many. As not many films are in this ratio though, it may take some people a little getting used to, but I'm sure as the film progresses you should become accustomed to it. Though the film has been digitally shot, the image does carry quite a heavy layer of digital grain that has been added in post to emulate a filmic texture and give it a degree of grittiness, whilst also probably helping to blend in the vast amounts of CG. But how truly authentic or visually appealing you think it is in its appearance may depend on personal preference. Subsequently, detail levels aren't razor sharp and do convey a touch of softness, especially with the added film grain and slightly aggressive darker colour grading. But key areas of the image do still reveal adequate intricacy, and close-ups yield good clarity on facial features and clothing garments, as do environments such as futuristic interior sets or the vast amounts of on-location shoots. The film does rely on CG effects quite heavily, and some of it blends slightly more seamlessly than others. But there's no doubting the skills of the effects team with how they have managed to realistically blend in the mechanics on the back of the head of the human-like robots, along with producing the same great detailing on the almost fully CG police robots. All whilst bringing various large-scale locations to life, such as the impressive USS Nomad with its eerie blue laser targeting system, or the stunning Golden Temple set amongst the Himalayan mountains. As for the colours, the film features a fairly natural colour palette, which can be a touch subdued and darker at times, especially with the frequent nighttime and low-lit settings, which also means there isn't much room for lots of vibrancy or saturation to the palette, but there are occasions where certain colours are allowed a bit more vigour and intensity, and the HDR10 grading and wider colour gamut does subtly exploit these moments. Taking a look at the gamut visualisations, which, to emphasise the use of the wider colour gamut, fully desaturates the pixels that fall within the standard BT709 gamut, confined inside the small triangle and only leaves the pixels in the DCI-P3 and BT2020 gamuts in colour, which extend outside the small triangle. As you can see from the following images, the use of the wider colour gamut on this disc isn't extensive nor totally transformative, and it's only used a little in blue tones with lighting, digital screens and lasers, and to the greatest extent in orange and yellow tones with other lighting sources, street signs, explosions, and the candles inside the temple. In terms of the brighter highlights, taking a look at some heat maps, you can see that certain elements do have a good intensity to them, such as a variety of interior lighting, the lights on the exterior of the aircraft, natural sunlight, the lasers from the US Army, and explosions, particularly the larger ones. The frequent darker settings exhibit adequate black levels, though they can have the tendency to appear a bit murky and flat at times, which can limit depth and detail, probably not helped by the slightly lower than it should be bitrate, and the fact that it's been put onto a 66GB disc instead of 100. As for the audio, the Creator's UHD presentation is accompanied by a pretty active and engaging Dolby Atmos soundtrack that, compared to the accompanying Blu-ray's DTS 7.1 track, offers a more nuanced and enveloping audio experience. The surround channels are well utilised, not only so in the more action-heavy battle sequences with explosions, gun blasts and vehicle flypasts, but also in the quieter moments with a great amount of environmental ambience, which helps to further sell the film's settings and increase the sense of immersion. The high speakers get sufficient use, whether it's tiny announcements, bleeping alarms, aircraft flyovers, or nomad-related sounds such as the laser targeting system, missiles, and the explosions and debris that follows. Bass response is adequate, producing some decent output in the battle sequences, such as with the frequent large-scale explosions, the thumping feet of the bomber robots, or when the US Army tanks are rolling in, which creates some ominous droning rumbles. Hans Zimmer's musical score is top-notch as per usual, accompanying the often striking visuals very well, with great clarity and definition. There's also a few unique pop music cues featured throughout, such as Radiohead's Everything in Its Right Place, which makes great use of the whole soundstage, and dialogue is rendered crisp and clear with no problems to report. To summarise, I'll give the picture an 8.5. Disney and 20th Century Studios' 4K Blu-ray presentation of The Creator is not the pinnacle of the UHD format, but rather an ample reproduction of a director's creative vision. The added film grain and darker colour grading doesn't make for a showstopper, but the 2160p resolution and HDR10 grading still brings some appreciable enhancements and improvements over the standard Blu-ray, making this the best way to watch the movie at home. And I'll give the audio an 8.7. Though not quite in the realms of a demo-worthy experience, it's still a fun and engaging Dolby Atmos soundtrack that fans of the movie should appreciate, with lively surround channel activity, reasonable top-layer output, and sufficient bass response. So these are my thoughts on The Creator on 4K Blu-ray. Will you be picking this one up? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this type of content, why not hit the like button and consider subscribing and following me on Twitter and Instagram at chrisatthemovies to stay up to date with the latest physical media news. Thanks for watching guys, enjoy your movies. Bye!